made up of a morass of Noi ambience, shuddering cello, and I said epileptic,
I thought you were going for
ellip,
epileptic.
no, elliptical spoken word. I think epileptic is probably more
I
accurate.
was going to say they both work, I guess. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's Andy and John, and as always, it is time to listen to and discuss some music. So, John, you're going to be offering me up a track to go off and listen to. What have you got up your sleeve, my friend?
So it's a while since we listened to this band, and I don't know why. And they brought out an album since we listened to them last, and I haven't touched that on the channel, and I don't know why. Um, but this track came across my orbit recently. I don't know why, and I thought, why the hell isn't this on the channel? So it is. So the band is Squid, and the track is The Cleaner.
Hey, yes. Finally, some more Squid. I really, really enjoyed all of our Squid episodes and songs devoted that they were devoted to. So, yay! I'm excited. So, the cleaner, you say, right? So, am I to understand that this is off that new album? Oh no, it just showed up on your. Okay, it's from. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. All right. Well, then I guess that leaves obviously a pretty gaping blank hole for us to fill it out at some point in the future, listening to that newer stuff. But I will endeavor to go off and give this earlier track, "The Cleaner," a listen. Okay. What do we got here, Squid? I would like to think that this animated visage of people enjoying a night out at a dance club is not sort of infiltrating my thought process here, because in my mind this is quite danceable, and I don't think I needed the cartoon here to help me come to that conclusion. But yeah, this has got some interesting funkiness to it. Um, all right, Squid, here we go. So weird. A bit weird.
I'm the cleaner, all the lights are off when I rhyme.
Oh, Ollie Judd.
I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. Who are these people I don't even know? A faceless hi with a face says hello. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name.
It sounds like the plight of a uh the cleaner who comes into like an office, this like really sterile gray beige office building, a maze of cubicles at the end of the day, and cleans there in the evening, and has no idea or real relationship with the people who he's cleaning up after, or who they are cleaning up after, and that weird dynamic between those sort of white collar day workers, and the blue collar laborer who has to come in and literally clean up their mess. Yeah, faceless, nameless, kind of a cold exchange probably between them. Yeah, this is interesting subject matter, especially given the mood of the music. And of course, I mean, Ollie Judge, right? Yeah, I think I got his name right. Just barking these lyrics at us. It's a lot of fun and really interesting delivery of his that I've been charmed by from the moment go when we were, John first introduced me to these guys, and with each listen, it's one of the things that captivates me most. I was really looking forward to hearing how it jived with this more funky styling, and hey, it's working.
I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. We're so tired and we are so done. I fall asleep to the sound of a gun. I got new diet, I'm ahead of that trend. I read the features and in between the lines. And in between the lines.
That was a really interesting line too, like falling asleep to the sound of a gun, which makes me like it. All of a sudden, I'm thinking of, this cleaner who probably works from 5 until midnight or something like that. I'm not sure what their shift looks like, but they're more evening night shift. They do all of this work, that I talked about earlier, and then they go back to, I don't know what a cleaner salary affords them as far as living conditions and stuff like that, but probably like, not the highest paying salary. They probably go back to a seedy area of the city in like a 1-bedroom apartment, and the the lullaby that they have serenading them to sleep is the sound of crime outside their window, which is, and this is all coming from me. I have no idea if this is what it is, but that's where they're dragging me. Like that's where my thoughts are, and that's just a really interesting image. This cold welcoming of the office workers leaving as the cleaners arriving, working alone in this very bleak kind of environment, and then going home and falling asleep to the sounds of gunshots or whatever. It's just, that's what I'm stirring up in my own head, given the bits and pieces that I'm catching here, which is a really interesting and thought-provoking.
And in between the lines. And in between the lines. They make me do it all, and so I clean that shop. I'm the cleaner who gets home, whose body drops down on the floor as you find it there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books, dancing to rock and pop. I'm a cleaner, yes, and I can sweep that shop. And we will love and we will labor in this modern job. And you'll find me standing there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books. Team leader, team player,
So that was the most hooky part. I'm assuming that was the chorus.
I'm the cleaner. Team leader, team player, I'm the cleaner. Come downstairs, I got a room out back. Corrosive liquid makes your skin turn black. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. I'm the cleaner, but
That
you
bass is
don't
so
even
good.
know my name. They make me do it all, and so I clean that shop. I'm the cleaner who gets home, whose body drops down on the floor as you find it there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books, dancing to rock and pop. I'm a cleaner.
Just imagine this cleaner dancing around either the office building as they're cleaning, or back at their house afterwards, cleaning their house before they go to bed or whatever, and they're just like this, sort of this Fred Astaire-like character dancing around with a broom or a mop as they clean, listening to Rocket Pop. It's just a silly image that's popping into my head.
Yes, and I can sweep that shop. I'm real love and real labor in this modern job. And you find it standing there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books.
also have to recognize Ollie is maybe the most subdued I've ever heard him from a vocal standpoint in, in any of the songs that we've covered by Squid. This is actually quite reined in for him.
An extra hour so I can dance for you. I'm in my favorite shoes and in the secret blouse and I'm dancing. So I can dance. 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 So I can
I'm sure they're gonna build this back up to something.
So I can dance. So
As if it were some Pavlovian cue from the bass to Ollie Judge, he slips back into that that voice I'm so familiar with.
I can dance. So I can dance. So I can
extra time.
So I
They're working extra hours.
So I can dance. So I can dance. So I
I'm in
can
my favorite shoes.
So I
I'm in that sacred blouse. So I can dance.
So I can dance. So I can
Keep me overtime.
So I
They're working extra hours.
So I can dance. So I can
Guy's a maniac. Oh, okay. Here I thought the bass was done. Phew, had to stop it because it was getting very close there. These guys can't miss with me, apparently. This is such an interesting subject matter, you know what I mean? And to paint that lyrical picture over top this musical canvas is a really interesting juxtaposition. And God, we've talked about this so much on this channel, and we will continue to whenever it rears its head, which seemingly is pretty often. But that is this idea that the music and the mood that the music invokes is in some ways antithetical to the narrative, at least in parts. Now, I know when he's talking about the I can dance and stuff, it makes sense, but the plight of a laborer is an interesting one to you know, couple with this sound and this music. But something I should learn not to put past Squid. They're an interesting bunch who often think outside the box, both from a musical standpoint and from a narrative standpoint, depending on, you know, what the subject matter is. Whatever it is, it's going to be a little odd, but the best kind of a little odd. And I really found this song charming, and the bass super infectious. The rhythm section in general is really great. The little touches on the guitar were fabulous as well. Yeah, I found this to be, I wonder like what could inspire a song about this subject matter. But it's an interesting tale that unfolded, and musically I found it absolutely infectious. Maybe I don't know. I know that there was more. There was probably more toying with shifting dynamics and things like that in previous songs that we've listened to them. But the danceability, the fun, and infectious nature of this music puts it really high up there for me. Which is what's so surprising because every time we listen to these guys, I'm left thinking, was that the best Squid song that I've ever heard? Which there aren't a lot, but when each one of them sort of that's your instant reaction to them, that says a lot, I think, about a group and their talent and what they're doing. And these guys do fun and interesting and thought provoking things. So yeah, and I love Judge's voice and approach to singing. Um, there's something, there's like a screw loose there, but it's one of the screws that can go with a bit of loosening without the wheels falling off. And that's part of the fun of the adventure of listening to a Squid jam. So yeah, I'm sure John knows more about this, and I am jonesing to find that information out. So let's get back to him.
Contents may settle. He's back. So you've had to listen to The Cleaner by Squid. What do you reckon?
So, well, I reckon a lot. I'd like to think that I'm not being influenced by the animated visage of people dancing as the song kicks off. Go ahead.
Yeah, apologies for that. I know it could probably be a bit annoying, but that was the only one I could get, and it had the lyrics as well. I know we were both a bit snobby about lyric videos, but it is what it is. That's all we could get.
Yeah,
And it
hey,
was a
between a rock and a hard place, you got to settle with what you got to settle with and what you're working with. That really wasn't and I took no issue. I mean, honestly, the animated video made sense. And the lyrics I try not to focus on too much unless I couldn't interpret them myself. Despite Ali, despite his oddball performance, he's often pretty discernible,
yeah.
almost easily discernible because of how much he just, emphatically provides the exposition of whatever the narrative is. But yeah, what I was gonna say was I'm seeing these people dance. Obviously, the whole thing is just these cartoon folks dancing around. But I'd like to think that probably because the opening drum beat does it certainly possesses this kind of funky, danceable quality to it. That for me is immediately engaging. That I would have come to this conclusion that this is a dancey number, regardless of whatever is unfolding on the screen. It has more than just a touch of cowbell or block to its beat, as well as some nice tight snare hits and the occasional cymbal splash. This beat is then accompanied by these very early sci-fi sounding guitar warbles, and I say guitar question marks. I assume that that's what they're coming from, and this quite jaunty bass work that's happening beneath it all. And as we are closing in on the 1 minute mark, our favorite drummer / barking maniac, Ali Judge, officially joins the fray. He appears to be taking on the role of our song's titular character as he opens with, "I'm the cleaner. All the lights are off when I arrive. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name." And then he goes on about not knowing who these people are, calling them a faceless hive with a faceless hello. So it sounds like he's describing the social dynamics of the relationship, or lack thereof, between the everyday employees of a starched but soulless office building and the unfortunate cleaning person who has to come in each evening and clean their cubicle lined, likely poorly lit office. But what's also interesting is, like, I don't know if this is the case, but like the cleaner sounds like a role or an occupation of someone in the mob who like fixes crime scenes. You know what I mean? Scrubs the deck.
Wolf.
Yeah, yes, yes. But that is more subtext. The overt assumption in this is the, the former role or occupation that I outlined earlier. So while I did see that there could be more to it than just, this story of an office worker or office worker, person who cleans up after office workers, I kind of ran with that as my assumed inspiration for the track, though you can set all that straight when I'm done going through all my malarkey here. But the bass line is becoming more and more infectious for your boy over here as the song continues, and I'm fighting the urge to solely focus on it, as there are other great things happening here. But you know my weakness, John. And it is like the siren song for me. So I was absolutely adoring the bass work in this track. But I refocus my attention on the narrative. After Judge repeats the lines, "I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name." He howls out about being so tired and so done, and shares with us that he falls asleep to the sound of a gun, which is an interesting and evocative line. I instantly was taken, as I run with this literal meaning of the term "the cleaner," I instantly was taken to this dark and poorly heated one-bedroom apartment in a seedy part of the city, where our titular character goes to bed late every night after another evening shift of cleaning office buildings, and what awaits them is the lullaby of crime unfolding outside their bedroom window. Now, I don't know what the yearly salary average is for someone who cleans office buildings, but I imagine it isn't, scraping the sky, unlike perhaps some of the buildings that they spend their time cleaning. So for them to go off to like the money district of the city and clean and do all of this labor intensive work for the white collar workers, this blue collar individual then retreats back to the part of the city that is affordable to them, where one might have crime issues and be dealing with that. But also, if it is the mafia mob thing, I don't know if they necessarily, I would think that the sound of a gun would probably be their alarm clock or their bat signal, like, "You are needed here." So I thought that was kind of an interesting line, if it does in fact allude to the more metaphorical position rather than what is seemingly the literal one on display here. So just as my mind's eye is focusing on this unsolicited, depressing visage of low-income urban housing, I'm brought back to the here and now as the song shifts musically at the 158 mark. There is a little darko disco sheen on this portion of the tune, and I'm becoming increasingly appreciative of how they're using this particular musical canvas to tell a story of the everyday, rather depressing monotony of life of an underpaid laborer. Again, it's this thing that we've talked about ad nauseum on the channel, this odd juxtaposition of the mood that the music evokes compared to what is being provided lyrically. And this is another, millionth probably at this point, not a million, but high hundreds, shining example of that, kind of dynamic. The music is fun, engaging, impossible to ignore, but the narrative of it is of this underappreciated, overlooked laborer is bleak and disheartening. And you know how much I love the antithetical nature of music that makes you move, and held up against lyrics that are actually moving. He sings of how they make him do it all, for he is the cleaner who gets home from work only to have to perform the same functions at his residence. He also claims to dance with DVDs and books, dancing to rocket pop. And again, I'm thinking of the cleaner alone in the sterile-looking beige cubicle maze, dancing about with a broom in hand like a modern-day blue-collar Fred Astaire. But I'm also thinking of like how this would be a lovely scene in a Tarantino film, where the cleaner who comes up after in the midst of this carnage, blood-soaked, dingy, I'm thinking Reservoir Dogs where the ear's getting sawed off and you're in this shitty cellar and there's blood everywhere. But in comes the cleaner who's got headphones on, and the soundtrack does not match at all the mood of what just transpired. And they're scrubbing and, bleaching blood. And it's kind of comical in the most morose kind of way. But yeah, after the chorus, the song ramps up a bit, and this to the like on the manic meter, as things flirt with becoming calamitous before the bottom drops out at around the 4:05 marker. It drops to a simple beat and these pulsating beeps, and slowly the bass and the guitar rejoin in the form of this almost kind of call and response motif where during one part of the motif, the guitar is the emphasis, but then at the other part of the motif, as the guitar drops, the bass becomes sort of the shining, and they sort of go back and forth for a very brief moment, but it's an interesting dynamic between the two stringed instruments. Again, sounding like a broken record here, but that funky little bass line bouncing around as he sings of keeping extra time and working extra hours whilst he dances is so goddamn infectious. I mean, if I had a mop or broom nearby when I was listening to this, I may have been coaxed into joining him. Then around the 5-minute mark, the song shifts with this sound of distorted resonance. And for what might be the first time in my life, I hear Ali Judge take a more measured and subdued approach to his vocal delivery as he calmly sings on repeat, "So I Can Dance." And during this portion, the time is kept by these light taps he deploys high on the cymbal, while guitar strums make intermittent appearances and some synth-like sounds shine over it. But just as the bass re-enters the picture, Judge's voice seemingly takes this Pavlovian cue from it and slips back into a manic style we've all come to expect from him as he continues to sing, "So I Can Dance." This is soon accompanied by the second vocal track, which is delivered in more of a speaking fashion. And consider I've only really ever heard him bark or yelp. I don't know if it's his voice in sort of a calmer state or, yeah, as you just suggested, someone else, which I had also pretty much ultimately assumed. The speaking fashion is coupled with Judge's berserk barking of "dance, dance, dance, dance." And on the final dance, the vocals retreat for the remaining 45 seconds, allowing the beat to go on for another measure or so before it too vacates the soundscape, leaving only the faint echoes of guitar notes and resonance for a bit. But then, with only 12 seconds to spare, the bass, and that eerie guitar warbling reemerges for one final appearance before the song actually concludes. So apparently Squid can't miss with me, because this was fantastic, both musically and from a narrative standpoint. The music is enough to scratch your rhythm itch, obviously, and the tale that unfolds made me think, and for better or worse, empathize with the titular character. And I say for better or for worse, because for better, yes, it is the underpaid, office scrubber. Worse, it's this guy who quietly cleans up murders and keeps his mouth shut and goes nameless, as one would want to if they were in that role. So yeah, really interesting stuff. I really enjoyed it, John. Tell me more.
So, thank you for that. Okay, so just a bit of housekeeping. So we have previously covered 2 tracks, GSK and Boy Racers, or Boy Racers, as it's probably pronounced. And both of them were live, and both of them from that same From the Basement sessions, and both of them were equally fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'll add this to we talked a lot about the band, the creation, etc. in those previous episodes. So I'll add to go to the playlist, and you can go and check those out. So I won't go on too much about that. But just to say that Squid are Brighton's finest post-punk, experimental rock, indie rock, art rock, post-rock. So this is from the band's second EP called Town Centre. And this is actually the first iteration of Squid that I heard. And The Cleaner is the first song of theirs I heard. Closely followed by another single called Houseplants. Again, it's one of those ones like Foxhole that you have to enunciate in a certain way.
Yes, and Boy Racers has that effect on you as well.
Yeah. But wait till you hear, and you will hear Houseplants, then you'll understand what I'm on about.
Okay.
It has to be seen to believe. So yeah, Town Centre, that kitty there, fantastic. Released in September 2019. Cover painting is by Michael Cox. You can't really see it, but right down in the bottom corner there, it just says Squid Town Centre in very, very small letters. So just to reiterate the bad players in our tragedy, Ollie Judge, lead vocals, drums, Louis Bollez, guitar, bass, backing, and occasional lead vocals, as in this track. Arthur Ledbetter, keyboard, strings, percussion. Laurie Nankiville, bass, brass, percussion. And Anton Pearson, guitar, bass, backing, and occasional lead vocals and percussion. They all do lots. We've seen them in live. They switch around and do stuff, and they play keyboards and then a bass and suddenly a trumpet and all sorts of stuff. So the EP Town Centre has been described as post-punk, indie rock, and post-rock. Critics note that the EP borrowed influences from bands such as Talking Heads, ESG, and LCD Sound System. So 4 tracks on the EP. Opener, Savage, is a slow, winding intro track with telltale brass, apparently. One critic noted its similarities to Talk Talk's Spirit of Eden. Second track, Matchbed, is a hurtling indie rock tune, which builds over a throttling motoric beat with intricate guitar work. Vocalist and drummer Ollie Judge said that the track takes place in the same universe as The Cleaner, with the song being told from the perspective of a Sonic Youth superfan living with mental illness. And he used to come into the shop that he worked in and talk to him all the time, and that's why they got the song for that match. But the closing track, Rodeo, is a freeform languid outro made up of a morass of noi, ambience, shuddering cello, and I said epileptic.
I thought you were going for epileptic.
No, elliptical spoken word. I think epileptic is probably more accurate.
I was going to say, they both work, I guess.
And the track you listen to, The Cleaner, is the third track, is a jittery, this is in quotes, a jittery 7-minute duet between Judge and Louis Bollez. The band said the song is about a, in quotes, lost acquaintance, one that we spent the last year trying to get to know, tirelessly working and turning up whenever needed. So, yeah, the EP got very positive reviews from the critics. DIY wrote, 7-minute masterpiece, The Cleaner, is the record's standout. It's a Frankenstein-like creation that combines the angular danceability of Talking Heads with a lyrical fantasy about a cleaner. It's laced with more colourful melodies than you can shake a bag of Skittles at. They say Town Centre is a richly musical and completely addictive listen that shows exactly why Squid are one of the most exciting bands in the country at this moment. Enemy said that the EP pushes Squid forwards with yet more evidence of what a fascinating young band they are, and called the EP excellent. And Pitchfork spattered on phrases about how clever they are, and then said, once an audacious young band starts to sound like a little of everything, they'll eventually go full circle, sounding like nothing else. Squid are getting there, avoiding genre constrictions they'd later have to wiggle from underneath. More than a map to a promising destination, Town Centre sounds like a declaration of limitlessness. So the lyrics, very interesting. I'm the cleaner, all the lights are off when I arrive. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. Who are these people? I don't even know. A faceless hi with a faceless hello. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. We're so tired and we're so done. I fall asleep to the sound of a gun. I've got a new diet. I'm ahead of the trends. I read the features and in between the lines. 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 And then Louise takes over. They make me do it all, and so I clean the shop. I'm the cleaner who gets home when the body drops down on the floor as you find it there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books, dancing to rocket pop. I'm the cleaner, yes, and I can sweep that shop. Real love and real labour in this modern job. And you'll find me standing there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books. And then back to Ollie. Team leader, team player, I'm the cleaner. Team leader, team player, I'm the cleaner. Come downstairs, I've got a roux out back. Corrosive liquid makes your skin turn black. I'm the cleaner, but you don't even know my name. I'm the cleaner, you don't know my name. I'm the cleaner, you don't know my name. And then back to Louise. They make me do it all, and so I clean that shop. I'm a cleaner that gets home where the body drops down on the floor. If you find it there with a brush and mop, I dance with DVDs and books, dancing to rocket pop. I'm a cleaner, and yes, I can sweep that shop. Real love and real labour in this modern job. And you find me standing there with a brush and mop. I dance with DVDs and books. Then we get that instrumental neurotic breakdown, and it comes back in with this sort of bridge. Lewis again, keep me extra time and keep me working extra hours so I can dance for you. I'm in my favourite shoes. I'm in that sequin blouse and I'll dance. Keep me extra time and keep me working extra hours so I can dance for you. I'm in my favourite shoes. I'm in that sequin blouse and I'll dance. And then Mr. Judd, so I can dance, 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 keep me extra time, so I can dance, keep me working extra hours, so I can dance, so I can dance, so I can dance. I'm in my favorite shoes, so I can dance. I'm in that secret blouse, so I can dance, 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 keep me over time, so I can dance, keep me working extra hours, so I can dance, so I can dance, 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 dance. So a couple of really interesting little write-ups here from different websites rather than the usual reviewers. This website is called When the Horn Blows. And this was written by a chap called Matthew Brocklehurst. I don't normally reference people, but I think he did a good job here. He sort of writes, the cleaner still has the angular and quirky disco pump stroke new wave style that nods towards Talking Heads and television, but Squid have gone big here, bordering on epic. Clocking in at 7.5 minutes, you might think they've gone nerdy and proggy, but that is not the case. If anything, you can compare it to the long disco jam of Barbarism Begins at Home. The cleaner begins with a simple drum beat and cowbell, which is accompanied by one guitar playing a simple melody and the other making weird whale noises along the neck.
That's that eerie sound I was talking about.
Yeah. As Ollie Judd sings in his distinctive particular bark, the accents of a funky 80s synth transport you back to the 80s, or what you imagine the 80s to be if you weren't around. Louis Bellet sings the chorus when it gets a little more thought-provoking with lines such as, and you find it standing there with a brush and mop, I dance with DVDs and books. Squid tell the story of the cleaner in a way that poets such as Charles Bukowski may use the figure of the minimum wage manual labourer to express ideas and feelings. That's a really interesting point. And from the Atwood magazine website, on the cleaner, Squid treats listeners to a stained glass work of talent, weaving first through crisp funk, ornamented with Judge's chaotic vocal fry, before swerving into a verdant chorus with clean vocals. This point-counterpoint construction of the song creates sublime tension, sonically paralleling the cleaner's working life under entitled careless bosses and the cleaner's time spent on their own terms. Each section could easily stand by itself, but the juxtaposition shows in Squid a real asymmetrical songwriting talent, especially as the song loses all concrete form and sublimates like vapor into a foggy midsection. Slowly it finds solid earth again, building on the yawning chasm of spacey instrumentals, with only a drum beat and the bass ostinato keep things grounded. Judge's vocal fry returns in the eerie refrain of So I Can Dance. Boulez keeps doubling up on clean vocals with more spoken than sung. Keep me dancing extra time, keep me working extra hours so I can dance for you. The tune is a bitter lashing out, peppered with the exhaustion of working over living. The cleaner is the song's title as well as the speaker, a first-person narrative that takes us through the life of a personal cleaner. The experience of scorn and alienation is represented through Judge's screams. The protagonist's release, if they even get one, is their secret inner life. They're ahead of the trends, they know subtlety. At the end of the day, they collapse in a heap of media, DVDs and books and dream of something better, rocket pop. As a result, the song is a portrait of the drudgery attempting to destroy the creativity of millions of humans. It's articulated through a visceral funk fusion with contemporary rock and the dream of something better. And it just puts me in mind of another quote from a great writer and a great book, stroke film. You are not your job. You are not how much money you have in the bank. You are the all singing, all dancing crap of the world. Wise words of Mr. Tyler Durden. And just as a final aside, there is a theory on some of the websites that's kind of parallel with your theory, that this song is about people are on the right side of the law, who clean up murder scenes after the police have finished investigating. And there was a TV series called The Cleaner, starring Greg Davis, Taskmaster over here, which had the same premise, and it was a comedy drama. Of all the hilarious things that happen when you're slipping on other people's guts. So yeah, there's some dark lines in there as well about the sort of dark liquid making your skin turn black and things like that.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting.
there's all sorts of stuff. Yeah, but yeah, I just thought this is a really, really interesting and great song. Some of the, I know you go loop over the bass and it is fantastic, but some of the guitar work is really kind of crazy in that right channel.
Yeah.
Really, I love it. I love it to bits.
I'll say this, and I hate when this happens because I'm like, why didn't you just fucking speak up and say something when you had this thought? Because all it does is sound like I'm, you know, parroting what you've already said or jumping on the back of an idea that was espoused in something you read. But while listening to this, I definitely thought briefly of LCD Sound System. And kind of like they're not quite as manic with some of their stuff, but they get there. As you probably saw with North American Scum had a little bit of that to it. So I heard that, and I definitely heard what sounded like someone who was inspired by, but maybe not trying to sound exactly like the Talking Heads. So both those two acts briefly came in and out of my brain as I was listening to this. And then you had gone and mentioned them. So there's some slight confirmation, though. What is it worth when it just appears like I'm this is stolen valor of original ideas when it came to listening to them? But I honestly, those bands came to mind as I was playing this, and I can see how there are some parallels, but sort of in line with what the individual from Pitchfork had said. I don't think that they're emulating them. They sound like they sound like they've taken a little bit from them or been inspired by, but are not meant to replicate. Which then, if you do that enough with enough disparate things, you create this ownness to whatever it is that you've developed, right?
Definitely. Good stuff. All right, I shall wrap things up. Thanks for listening, Andy. Folks out there, tell us what you think. Please slap your meaty paw on the like button if you do like this, and drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you, all your thoughts on The Cleaner. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. We do appreciate everybody who supports this channel, and if you can do a bit of cleaning as well, it's really appreciated. That being said, thanks so much for watching. We'll see all of you in the next episode of The Audiophiles.
We'll see you later, guys.